Well, there is a new debate on religion and free speech in the classroom after a public school teacher in New York is forced to remove a number of inspirational quotes and posters from her classroom because of their religious content. Joelle Silver says she received a, quote, counseling letter informing her that if she did not take down the listed items, including a quote from former President Ronald Reagan, she'd be fired. Ms. Silver is now suing.
I believe that my First Amendment rights were violated last June when I was asked to do some things regarding taking some posters down and to censor my speech in the classroom. And as a Christian and as an American, I believe it's incredibly important to fight to protect the rights that people have died to give me.
Jay Sekulow is the chief counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice, not involved in this case, but has handled many others like it. Jay, welcome back. Just want to tell the viewers, so she had posters with religious messages, notes with Bible quotes, like Post-it notes on her desk, a prayer request box for the school's Bible study club, and then in teaching her anatomy and biology, she apparently mentioned Adam and Eve. She mentioned a Bible verse. She mentioned Paul's first letter. She had a poster with Paul's first letter to the Corinthians that read, "Be on guard, stand true to what you believe, be courageous, be strong, and everything you do must be done in love." And then there was the Ronald Reagan thing talking about how without God, democracy cannot endure. So did she run afoul of the Establishment Clause?
I don't think so. I've argued three major religion cases involving this exact kind of thing at the Supreme Court of the United States. And Megan, look, I think it's overkill here. You know, an 8-page counseling letter because she has, for instance, you mentioned that quote from Corinthians. So what is in that quote that, you know, is creating a constitutional crisis?
Stand true to what you believe.
The Bible Club has a prayer. Yeah, well, you know what? We'll just say, do good, stand true to what you believe, and do it in love. These are really things that are going to create, you know, it's going to establish a national religion in America. I mean, it's again, this overstatement. I think what's happened here is, and I'm happy to say that these cases are rare now, and they have been for the last few years. But the fact of the matter is that this school district, you know, basically treating religion like it's asbestos in the ceiling tiles, and its mere mention is a constitutional crisis. And that's just, you know, these students have constitutional rights, so do teachers. In fact, the famous quote from the Supreme Court over 50 years ago was, "Neither students nor teachers surrender the rights to freedom of speech at the schoolhouse gate." And if she's got personal messages on her desk that are inspirational to her, why is that creating an 8-page counseling letter?
I know, even I mean, like, it's one thing to have posters on the wall. You can have a fair debate about that, but the Post-it notes that she looks at on her desk? All right, but here's the thing. I think I remember seeing you at the Supreme Court when McCreary versus ACLU was argued back in 2005.
Yep.
And that was a big case. That was one of the 10 Commandments cases where they had posted some local officials had posted the 10 Commandments on their county, like courtrooms, I think, on the board. Somebody objected. Then they tried to paper them up with like other historical documents. Anyway, the liberals ruled in that case together. And that was a case in which the liberals of the high court bound together to say the First Amendment mandates government neutrality between religion and non-religion. And Justice Scalia went ballistic in his defense, saying, "That's nuts. We have it on our coins. In God we trust." We open the Supreme Court sessions with "God bless this honorable court." The House and the Senate start their sessions with prayers.
With a prayer.
There's nothing in our history to suggest that they wanted neutrality between religion and non-religion.
Well, let's know. Well, there's one thing they certainly did not want, the founders of our country, and that's hostility towards religion. And I had a subsequent 10 Commandment case, which we won unanimously, where this idea that, you know, again, posting the 10 Commandments did not create a constitutional crisis. Now, look, the court's been in conflict on the 10 Commandment cases, and you pointed that out correctly. But let me tell you where the court's been pretty clear. I mean, our national motto is "In God We Trust." So if a school district posts that in its classroom, are we now saying that that's a violation of the separation of church and state, of the Establishment Clause? And if she has posters up that quote Ronald Reagan, who in his speech mentions God, is that now forbidden? And that's not, we've got this great constitutional crisis going on? I think everybody needs to take a deep breath here, especially the school district, and that the overreaction is an understatement. Now, the teachers filed a lawsuit here because she feels like her rights have been violated. And again, it's not neutrality towards religion here. It's hostility towards religion. And this idea that you can just, you know, ignore the religious history of America, and I pointed that out in my last Supreme Court argument on a religion case, this idea that we can ignore the religious history of America ignores the reality of the American experience.
Justice Scalia pointed out that In the same week that the Congress submitted the Establishment Clause as part of the Bill of Rights, it enacted a law providing for paid chaplains in the House and Senate. So, you know, the idea that they wanted no part for religion in the public square just is belied by the history. But you tell me quickly, Jake, 'cause I got to go. Is it the law now that, as the majority, not the dissent in that case held, the First Amendment mandates neutrality between religion and non-religion? You can't favor religion.
I think that's again, I think the reality is that we have got to protect religious freedom, period. Neutrality can be used as a whipsaw against religion, but at the end of the day, protecting religious freedom protects this teacher, and that's what should happen here.
We'll see how it goes. Jay, thanks.